my mom came into the room and she's like, "Look at my phone," and then I couldn't see it, so I had to look at mine. I'm like, "Oh."
I can't bet against Tom Brady. I have the Bucks winning 31-27 and Tom Brady going to his 10th championship.
Yeah, and I really think the Clippers' chance to win the championship was last year, and they were up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets.
Chris Paul is one of the most underrated players of all time. He's been the best player wherever he goes, and that includes with the Rockets.
You said you can't bet against Tom Brady, and as a Cowboys fan and what I just did last weekend, I am not going to bet against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. I mean, that's all I can really say. There's two of the top 5 players in the league, and they are very, very good.
Hello, I'm Taylor Hearn, and you listen to The Outsiders' Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. This one is a follow-up to a video we had 2 days ago, July 20th. The Clippers already a stacked roster, but now they bring back, I'm always careful to say legend, Austin, but you could say probably Clippers icon, Chris Paul.
I mean, he's definitely the best player to ever play for the franchise when you consider like what he's done for the team. So I don't hate calling him a legend because I think he kind of epitomizes a whole era for the team.
Yeah, and so now he comes back to what potentially could be his final year, and
he said it was going to be his final year.
Oh, he did? Okay. I wasn't sure if it was speculation or that. So yeah, this is his final year. And what better year to join the Clippers again with this year, as we already talked about their stacked roster.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that I think that the Clippers are going to be excited to have the opportunity to field a roster of this caliber, but it's going to take a lot for them to actually win because it's just such a stacked conference. But I think we both understand that they can do it. It's just going to be everyone staying healthy, everyone being ready for the playoffs, and then getting a good enough seed to be had to have home court advantage in the playoffs. Obviously, if this does end up being Chris Paul's last season, winning a title with the Clippers would be a storybook ending to a career.
Yes, that's a great way to mention that. And one thing that stood out to me just now is this: not only is Chris Paul reunited with the Clippers, but he's reunited with James Harden, which, of course, the Suns is probably the most realistic chance he had of getting a ring for Chris Paul. But that Rocket squad where he was injured, was it Game 6 and Game 7 with a hamstring, was, I would say, the second best chance he had at winning a ring, even though it wasn't in the NBA Finals, but it was against that historic Warriors team.
Yeah, there's been so many times. I think the Rockets is definitely his best chance because if he doesn't get hurt, then I think that he is a finals champion. But we'll have to see whether or not the Clippers can stay healthy. But I know they're old, but I don't really see that as a problem with this team like it has been with teams before. Mainly for 3 reasons. First, there's so many. This isn't 3 guys. This isn't KG, Deron Williams, and Paul Pierce. And even Deron Williams wasn't that old. But this isn't like the Paul Pierce. It wasn't Jason Terry, Paul Pierce, and KG. There's a lot of these guys. Harden, Kawhi, Brook Lopez, Beal, Chris Paul, obviously. Nicholas Batum was pretty old as well. Derrick Jones Jr. But I think it's also the fact that they all played well last year. I mean, Beal still shot 49.7% from the field, and Harden was amazing, and Kawhi, when he playing, was amazing. Chris Paul's a great passer for the Spurs. While Brook Lopez did have a down year, he still contributed shooting and blocking-wise. So I'm not worried necessarily regarding how they're going to play this year on the court. It's just whether or not they stay healthy. Another reason why it's not a big concern for me is that all these players have experience in the playoffs and with Kawhi winning titles. I mean, Brook Lopez has won a title. Derrick Jones Jr. has played in the NBA Finals. Nicholas Batum's been a lot of big runs. Kawhi obviously has been Kawhi. Chris Paul's played in the finals. Bradley Beal's played in the playoffs. I mean, they have guys or Harden's played in the finals. You have a lot of these guys that have been to either the pinnacle or very close to the pinnacle of the sport. So I'm not worried about being like that. They're going to be consistent. And I also feel like they're committed to playing their role, which I think was a problem with the Nets. I think the Nets kind of fell apart. The one with KG and Paul Pierce on them, it's because they had assumed that they were still as good as they used to be. And I think that these players have kind of molded their careers to where they're going to play their role and they know how they fit. I don't think egos are going to be much of a problem. I think that Chris Paul will come off the bench and be the point guard behind Harden. And that's a dangerous passing duo. So I think this team seriously has a chance. I think Chris Paul being added is a good thing. And like I said, this could be a storybook ending to a Hall of Fame career.
Yes, it really could. And it's going to be an exciting NBA storyline. Another thing about the Clippers is I remember reading Chris Paul wanted to start. He didn't want to come off the bench. But so that was my only concern. But like, how is he going to start? Because they just signed Beal. But he is going to come off the bench. But he also provides a player that can fill in for when Beal or Harden are out. And you're not going to lose that much passing, especially if Harden's out. But then you have Harden and him together. And another reason why I believe this team, given that their primary players do deal with injury problems, have dealt with them in the past, and their age is getting up there, it is because of the depth of the team. I believe they can have Kawhi on a minutes restriction if he's coming off an injury, and it won't really hurt them like they did last year of just surviving the first half of the season without Kawhi Leonard. Then he gets back and they play well. They go against the Nuggets and wasn't a competitive game 7, but still that roster of John Collins on the bench, Derrick Jones Jr. on the bench, there's a lot to like. Bogdan Bogdanovic, Brook Lopez as well. They're gonna be limited minutes for all these guys because I'm sure Ty Lue recognizes we just have to get to the playoffs and be in a good spot in the West, and then it could be really dangerous for the Clippers.
Yeah. The Clippers are going to be in a situation where the expectations, I think, are going to be high heading into the year. And whether or not they are able to overcome what the Clippers have been for the entirety of their existence or not will end up being up to them. But I do feel like that they're going to have an amazing opportunity to be one, if not the best team in the conference or the league.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them to be the best, but it is really tough given just that Thunder team. But they are a young team compared to the Clippers, who have been around. Some of them have been on the Thunder, of course, but they've been around. They understand the importance and kind of the lack of opportunities they have missed, just given how the NBA goes, especially Chris Paul, as he still does not have a ring.
Yeah, a lot of these players on this team are without a ring. I mean, the only two players that have a ring, their main roster, or main players are Brook Lopez and Kawhi. So Harden, Beal, Chris Paul, Derrick Jones Jr., John Collins, Ivica Zubac are all looking for their first ring, and I think that hunger will be apparent.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the NBA season to start and see what the Clippers, mostly because of the Clippers and kind of that what they've done, and then of course what does it look like for the Lakers as the Clippers, just this even adds to the Clippers are a well-built roster compared to the Lakers, who just have star power.
Yeah, I mean, they've really filled out this roster, and I'm extremely, extremely excited to see how the season goes for them.
Yeah, so we will keep you updated on that. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.